what was the hardest part? Because I feel like I'm an idiot about this stuff. I feel like I'm amazed by all of it, but I even see like the effort you put into modifying the drip tray. I'm like, why is this guy spending so much effort on these little things? But like, what was the hard part? What was the hang up? Where was it like, is this really going to work?
I think the metaphor I like to use for this whole thing is the decent is an instrument. Imagine you're going to make a new instrument for musicians who've never actually played this instrument. It looks kind of like other instruments, but not that much.
Okay.
And so you build this first instrument, and then someone shows up and they bang on it some, and they're like, yeah, I can see the future, but I really can't make me do this. And you ask the musician, well, what should I change? Like, well, I've never encountered this instrument before, so I don't know. And that's basically what it was. Is like, for example, I had Slayer shots. I heard they were a good thing, and so I was like pursuing Slayer shots, and I would try and get people who supposedly knew to try it, and they're like, yeah, they don't really work, and I don't really know what's going on, and I can't give you any feedback. I'm like, well, what about this? Like, maybe. So the hardest thing was that it was a complete void, and so we would try stuff, and it would just be flat out wrong. But we couldn't, there was no website, there was no prototype machine we could ask. So I'll give you an example. When we started talking about flow profiling, experts like you and James Hoffman were excited about it for a reason that we now are totally not interested in. It was that we thought that flow profiling would make our worst shots better. So it wouldn't make our best shots better. It would just make less terrible shots. Right? And that was the focus there. And I remember those conversations. And so the focus, the design of the machine was like, let's make those worst shots better. So we focused on things like channel heating. So if you have a channel, it heals it. But no one really tried to make truly awesome shots with flow profiling.
Right.
Until like 2 years into the machine. And now we found largely that the reasons we were interested in flow profiling have vanished. Like, we're not interested in making our worst shots better. We're actually just not interested in having bad shots, period, ever. Forget it.
Right.
Like, we just want 90 plus all the time, and we can do it. And instead, this is kind of like a total mind shift. We now realize that flow and pressure are often best coexisting in the same espresso, in the same 30 seconds, which we didn't think about at the time. So most common version is most espresso machines out there that have pre-infusion, talk about pre-infusion in terms of bar. And if you talk to a physicist like Ray, he goes, that makes no sense, because coffee puck is not resisting water. So how can there be any pressure?
Right. It's like pushing on a spring until you've got...
It's like if you're pouring water into a sponge and the sponge is absorbing all the water, well, there's no pressure.
Right.
So it's literally nonsense what these other machines are saying. They're saying, we'll give you a 3 or 4 or 5 bar pressure pre-infusion. We're like, well, what is that? How much water is actually coming there?
Right.
And dig a little deeper, and it turns out it depends on their tap water pressure. Okay.
Right.
So the answer is we have no idea.
Right.
So we just made pre-infusion always be flow, because nothing else makes any sense.
Right.
And then it turns out that, okay, every machine out there has you use a timer to end pre-infusion. And you go, okay, why? Well, because we don't know how much water it'll take. Well, why don't we know? Well, how would we know? Well, we'd know because it would start to resist water. It's like, well, can't you just measure it with pressure? Oh, yeah, sure. So this huge cognitive leap we made, which was pre-infusion will just always end automatically. The machine will do it for you based on the puck is now resisting water. That was massive at the time and seemed like a gimmick. And now every single shot we do does that. Because why would we want to do it differently? So the hardest thing with this machine is that we had no idea what to do. And we went down so many blind alleys and so many things that we thought were good, only to abandon them.